to this game versus Vegas. Okay, New York. I thought we came out and played the way that we should. The defensive line played really well, highlighting Kinlaw. He was violent all over the place. We knew that Russell had the ability, as you saw this last game, to shoot the ball vertically, and I thought secondary did a nice job of now allowing the balls to get over the top, and the D-line did a nice job of pressuring. All right, going to the Green Bay game, we knew that misdirection and eye discipline was a must. We did not do a good job in the eye discipline category, and that allowed some big plays. The tight end hit the big play up the seam. New York ran the exact same, a similar concept. They ran it slightly different. Covered the New York game, and this game we didn't. The eyes weren't as true. They had some insert boots that were ran pretty well, and but once again our eye discipline wasn't there. I thought the hitting and the running was still there that game, but when points were going to be at a premium and the score is 17-10 in the fourth quarter, we got to make sure that we find a way to get that thing done. Now move transition into this game here. Veteran quarterback and Geno, strong arm, talented, can put the ball up, has eligibles on the outside that can really go and get in and stretch the field. A dynamic young tight end that, when you talk about being one of the best receiving threats, you have to almost treat him like a receiver. He's just a dynamic player. I remember watching him when he was at Georgia when he was a freshman, and I was like, if he came out, he'd probably be the first tight end to get drafted if he came out as a freshman. So I have a lot of respect for him. The running back, man, he's just good, man. Natural leverage. He has the ability to run through arm tackles. You have to get to his legs. You have to get multiple people there. The offensive line's blocking very well. 74 is a really, really good player. He doesn't give up much. So, we have our work cut out for us this game, but we just need to play our game. We play the way that we played the first game. And like I said, Green Bay, our eyes weren't true. The running hitting wasn't there, but we just had to clean up our eye discipline and not allow those explosive plays up the field. But one last thing, I just think that Kinlaw again played really well against Green Bay. I heard some people say they beat us in the trenches. They beat us because our eyes weren't good. The guys up front, they put the ball on the perimeter. They had receivers run the ball. It wasn't the running back run game that hurt us in that standpoint. All right, any questions?
The significance of losing Dietrich Wise, what's that impact there?
Dietrich on and off the field, he's one of those professional guys I talked about that's always studying, first guy in the building. He's a guy that really is a solid factor in the run game, setting edges, and then also in the pass game he can push the pocket. So, but injuries in football is just like tackling and throwing and catching the football. It's part of it. So, Baptiste and other guys are going to have opportunities to step up. Martin will get more reps, and we'll play well.
You obviously want to play a lot of press man and play man coverage. Green Bay had success in there. When you went back and watched that, you talk about eye discipline, but what else did you see in terms of playing the man coverage, some of those motions that they were able to get you guys on? Is there anything that your guys can do better, or that you could do differently with all that to help that?
The press man, the motions. We have some things schematically that we can handle when they're going to go fast motion and try to get to the flat. But when it was just man coverage and vertical routes, that really wasn't an issue. The eye discipline came from the insert boots, the switch verticals, the flow switch vertical where we let the tight end loose, and then when the tight end scored the last one, the eyes weren't true on that one as well. Once again, it was hard action pass, so it wasn't a case of all right, on the outside just getting beat man. It was in the perimeter, in the core, not doing a great job of our eye control.
What does Preston Smith bring to the group? And I guess without giving away state secrets, how do you plan to use him, and how much can he do in this week?
We're still seeing, Preston's very new to the group, and Jason Simmons has history with him. They were together in Green Bay, but he's a veteran player, so we just have to make sure that he's in shape, ready to go, learning the system. He's with Tapp, he's with Kerrigan, so I have high anticipation that he will learn the system very quickly, and then when we get him involved is whenever he's ready. Yeah.
And just from a defensive perspective, what makes Max Crosby so good at what he does?
I haven't watched Max, so I'm worried about their offense.
Hey, Coach, what have you seen so far out of Frankie Luvu?
Frankie, we had some conversations this week. The first 2 games, people are treating him more like a big, so he's getting more protections turned to him, getting more blocks by the tackles and the linemen other than the back, where last year he got more of the back. And that's what he has to, when you produce and you show what you did, to have the type of season that he had last year, you're going to be treated as such. And so we have some things that we're going to do schematically to do it, but understanding that they're still, when he gets up there, they're going to treat him as a big and they're going to put the back on somebody else.
Back to the eye discipline comment that you mentioned, because Dan also mentioned that a little bit. I think generally I understand the concept, but for you, what was the specific struggle? I get what eye discipline means, but what for you was not working in that regard that multiple people have now brought that up?
Ask the question again, please.
Basically, for you, what is the struggling with eye discipline? What does that actually look like for you when you're watching the tape or watching the game?
All right, you understand when the call is called, okay, where are my keys? All right, what am I looking at? If I'm in man coverage, all right, make sure my eyes are on my man. If I'm in a combination where, all right, there's a possibility of a swap, the 3 guys that are in that combination, we're all keying the same thing, okay? We go through our fast motion rules, understanding who's taking 1 out, who's taking 2 out, who's taking 3 out when they get into a loaded concept. So it's not a simplistic answer because of different calls bring different, keys and reads, but it's nothing that we weren't prepared for. We splashed Green Bay plays in. Now, we didn't tell the players that, but all through in camp because it was a Thursday night game. There was only going to be 1 game prior, so the concepts weren't concepts that we didn't think they were doing. We just didn't play it well, at the wrong time.
Do you think last year there was an issue in that department, or was it just something that you?
I'm not worried about last year, just to be honest with you.
I just mean from a development standpoint.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I'm not worried about last year. I'm not trying to, we didn't play well enough to win the Green Bay game. Okay, the reason we didn't play well enough, we didn't have great eye discipline. I'm trying to answer the question for you. So,
what's up, Coach?
What's going on?
It appears that teams are throwing more at Marshawn and not Trey. And does that surprise you with Trey being a rookie and Marshawn being a seasoned vet, this Pro Bowler?
I don't know if that's an accurate statement or not. So I don't know if they're throwing more at Marshawn or not. So I can't really answer that for you.
Good afternoon, Coach.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Focused. With I know obviously the execution wasn't where you wanted to be on Thursday night, but do you feel like the communication and the checks that needed to be made were made?
Yeah, the communication was fine. They made the proper checks. Weren't a lot of missed assignments, from a standpoint of, all right, I'm blowing an assignment. Just once again, I keep saying the eye discipline of it, and we knew that going in. That was one of the key pillars. If all the misdirection that they're going to run, and they do a very nice job of marrying their plays in the run and pass game and the play action game. They do an excellent job of it, and that's what makes them difficult. And we can't allow a free run to give up 57 yards because it leads to points. If we don't allow that play, their point total is probably closer to around 17, 18, other than the 27 that they got.
You mentioned that seam route Tucker Kraft ran a week ago that you defended better against New York. With a guy like Brock Bowers, is it as simple as being more on top of our assignments to take them out of the equation? Are there things
they run the same concepts, and our offense ran the concept against them. Like I said, it wasn't that, and I think 85 Kraft, I think he's an excellent player. I don't think he gets the credit that he deserves. I think he's one of the better tight ends in the league. So I'm not trying to take anything away from him. We didn't play it properly. So if I run it and we play it the way that we played it, I'm going to be open. All right, we have to play it better. We have to just play the rules just like we did in the New York game. So there's no magic trick. Just do what the call asks you to do, and it doesn't matter who's necessarily running it. The way we played it on that play, on that particular time, you would have been open.
This might be a weird question, but you had this kind of extra mini bye to kind of digest a game like that. Is that a net positive or a net negative, and how do you balance, studying Green Bay versus just flushing it?
No, that's a good question. We do our due diligence with the Green Bay, looking at what happened, because people are going to be, copying some of the things that happened from that standpoint. But you can't let one game beat you twice, so you flush it from that standpoint. The thing that's hard is, you want to get right back, because the only thing that gets this taste out of your mouth is a win, and so to be able to have to sit on this all weekend and then to come in a whole nother week and it's 10 days before you can go to another game, that's difficult, because when you don't play as a team the way that you expected to play and against a really good team, and it doesn't sit with you well. And so you want to go back, be able to get back out there and show that, hey, this is the type of team that we are, and what we put out Thursday, we're more like what we put out last week against New York. But we have to show it. We can't talk about anything else. We got to go show it. So that's what we're itching to do.
Hey, Joe, it's Tashawn Reed with the Washington Post. You talked a lot about Brock Bowers, but he's a guy that, lines up all over the place, traditional tight end and slot receiver, outside receiver in the backfield. How much more challenging does that make it to prepare for him as a defensive coordinator?
It does make it challenging, because, the way they use him, certain times he could be in 12 personnel and they'll put him in line as a 12. So if you put nickel out there, you're going to be a little small. But there's times they'll put 12 personnel out there and they're going to put him as a receiver, and you don't want him matched up on certain linebackers in cases. So that's where the difficulty of it is. Now, we just have to make sure that we're in calls and positions that are beneficial to the location of his that he aligns in each case. If he's in the line, all right, we're sound there in the run game. If he's outside, all right, we can handle him in the pass game.
Hi, how do you go about correcting this eye discipline issue?
Yeah, we that's the thing that we just did in our walkthrough. Okay. And to the point of the flow progression pass, the one that we let go, we ran it every way that we've seen run, and we talk about it. We push the concept through, but it's just not that one concept. It's day one teaching. You talk about your stance, your assignment, your alignment, your keys, just making sure you stay true to it. But we always talk about issue plays. I think last year we were top 10 in. To your point, I bring it up last year, and I didn't want to talk about last year with you. I apologize on that one, but we didn't give up a lot of explosive plays in our time in Green Bay. We didn't give up a lot of explosive plays, and because our eyes are true, and we go over issue plays. All right, and so that time it was what it was. I mean, we did not cover it well. The ball up the sideline. You can say what you want to, but the receiver pushed off and went to Marshawn over there. I thought that should have been called. It wasn't, but that's football. It is what it is. You play football and you go to the next down and you just keep playing. But we can't allow explosive plays, because if we give up explosive plays, points are going to come up, and we want to keep points at a premium. We keep points low. It gives us the best chance to win. All right, you guys have a great one, okay?